The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Scott Ellis. I'm a product marketing specialist for Onset Computer, and today I'd like to introduce you to our new product line called the HOBO UX90 Time of Use series. Today's agenda, we're going to take a quick look at our company overview, an overview of the UX90 series itself, and then dive into some of the features of the overall series, and then the individual logger features, and of course some features on HOBOware Pro. Now, before we get into this, the most common question is, will this be available afterwards? And yes, it will. We'll be distributing this presentation afterwards in an email follow-up. And also, if you do have any questions, please feel free to type those into the chat screen. We'll try to answer those as we go. If that's not available, we'll be able to do it afterwards. We have some time available afterwards. So who is Onset? We're the leader in portable data loggers. We were founded in 1981, so we just passed our 30-year anniversary. We're located on Bourne, Massachusetts, which is in Cape Cod. We have 120 full-time employees. We do design and manufacture all of our products here on Cape Cod, and we've sold over 2 million HOBO data loggers. And again, I'd just like to touch base here. I know we're a couple minutes into it, and it looks like folks are still arriving. Again, this will be available in an email follow-up afterwards, and that'll be sent out sometime in the next day. All right, so taking a look at the new product line here. This is the UX90 series. It's a comprehensive suite of time-of-use loggers. It's competitively priced and jam-packed with a lot of features. They've really been made for a fast deployment so you can get them out into the field and then get to working with your data. We've enhanced the memory as well. So what we'll do is take a look at some of the features here. We've added a new measurement in occupancy. So as you can see, we have 5 new products. Actually, it consists of 10 different part numbers. We have a standard memory, which is going to offer 84,000 measurements. And then we have the extended memory, which will actually get you out to 346,000 measurements. So we've revamped the state logger, the light on-off logger, and the motor on-off logger. And then again, we've introduced two new loggers, 2 new measurements where we combine both the occupancy and the light on-off, and that's available in 2 different ranges. So let's dive into some of these new features that we've included on the new product line. There's an LCD, as you've probably noticed, for instant feedback. It's going to give you real-time feedback when you're in the field. There's a signal strength and calibration feature, which I'll dive into a little more. We've added start and stop options for an easier deployment. The new case design will allow you to reliably mount the logger out in the field. And again, we have the new occupancy and light on-off measurement, and we're competitively priced. It starts at $85, and the occupancy and light starts at $199. So let's take a look at the case. The case is actually smaller than the existing U9 loggers that we have. The big thing you'll notice is we've added an LCD. On top of that, we've put a start and stop button, which relates to an icon on the display. The battery door's on top. It's a standard CR2032 battery, which is user replaceable and runs for about a year. We have the auto calibration and signal strength button. Again, I'll dive into how that exactly works in a little bit. We have mounting tabs on either side, so you can attach these with zip ties, or we actually include a Velcro strap in the goodie bag that gets shipped with the product. There are also 4 rare earth magnets that are on the back. They're pressure fit into the case, so really these can be stuck on any magnetic surface. There is a USB port on the bottom. We use true USB 2.0 download speeds, so our standard memory of 84,000 measurements now downloads in just about 10 seconds, with the extended memory of 346,000 measurements downloading in about 30 seconds. And of course, the compact size of the case. As you can see here, it's 1.4 inches by 2.3 inches, and it's very thin. So you'll be able to deploy these in a lot of locations, and you'll be able to keep them out of the sight of other folks. So taking a look at the new display and what you're going to get out of this display just other than readings. But again, you'll get your data in real time. You're going to see for the entire deployment, you're going to see your total on time in hours and minutes or days and hours, or you're going to see your percent on time. You can customize your scaling on the LCD. So we'll dive into this a little further, but let's say, for example, you're recording kilowatt hours, so you'll be able to put the kWh up there on your display. There's status icons. These are key when you're out in the field. These will turn on and off and act in real time to make sure that your logger is positioned correctly. We have the auto calibrate, and we have the signal strength, and again we'll dive into this in a little more detail. We'll show you how much memory is being used. There's a start and stop indicator depending upon how you've set up your logger in the HOBOware software. There's a battery icon which will show you how much battery is left. And of course, when the logger's logging, we're going to tell you that it's logging. So one of the new features here that apply to just about the entire product line is the signal strength and the calibration feature. It applies to the motor sensor as well as the light sensors. And really what this does here is it gives you a flexibility on really how to best deploy this in the field. The auto calibration, and I'll show you a video here on how this works. But really, you'll want to use this feature when you can turn the motor on and off, or the light on and off. If you don't have the ability to do that, there's another setting within HOBOware where you can set it for a minimum sensitivity or a maximum sensitivity. And this is best in cases where you're in a large industrial situation and you can't turn on the motor, or it's not running when you go to deploy the loggers. So I tried to describe this in words and pictures, and it turned out that video was just the easiest way to do this. So I have a couple YouTube videos here that I'm going to flip over to. And let's just take a listen here. This is going to demonstrate on how the motor logger works. This is Onset's new redesigned motor on-off logger, part number UX90-004. This video will demonstrate the new signal strength, auto calibrate, and start and stop features. The motor on-off logger is connected to a 2 horsepower drill press by the 4 rare earth magnets that we have on the back of the logger. On the top, we have 2 buttons. The right push button is for the calibrate and signal strength, where the left button is for the start and stop feature. By pushing the button on the right hand side, you're going to be able to change from memory over to signal strength. As you can see, there are 0 bars at this point. We're going to turn on the drill press, and this jumps right up to 5 bars. As you can see, as you remove it from the motor, as the signal strength gets weaker, it'll go down. And then as we get closer, it'll come back up to 5 bars. What we're going to want to do is lock in the 5-bar threshold. So once again, we hold down that right-hand button and hold it for 3 seconds. Once it starts counting down, you can let go. and this is going to lock in the threshold. So it'll say auto calibrate pass or fail. In this case, this passed. We'll turn back over to the signal strength, and as we remove this from the motor, you're going to see the icon go to off. And as we get closer and we get back to that 5-bar mark, the logger will show full signal strength again. To start the logger, we're now going to push the button on the left-hand side and hold it down for 3 seconds. As you can see, you now have the logging indication on the icon, and your total runtime is now increasing in seconds and minutes. When the motor's turned off, your runtime will stop, and the indication will no longer show the on sign. We turn the motor back on, and it continues to increase. This will go from minutes to seconds, to hours to minutes, and then days to hours. So as you can see, hopefully this is a very powerful tool on when it comes to time to set up your logger in the field. What I'd also like to show you here is one of the features that we have on the light on off logger as well, and how to set the calibration of this in the field using it along with a light pipe. Today we're going to take a look at Onset's new redesigned light on off logger, model number UX90-002, and how to deploy it in a residential lamp or in cases where sunlight may be a factor. We recommend using the 1-foot fiber optic attachment, part number UX90-light-pipe-1, or simply known as a light pipe. Here we have the light on off logger, and we have our 1-foot light pipe. This simply connects onto the back of your logger. As you can see, it has a little foot here. You're just going to slide this on, and it just snaps into place. So now that we have the logger in place, the first thing that we're going to want to do is push the button close to the light sensor, which is the calibrate button. First we want to push it to get our signal strength. Now as you can see here with my additional lighting source, I am picking up 1 bar. So what we're going to want to do is take our light pipe, and basically you're going to bend this, and we're just going to point this straight down towards the lighting source. Now, as you can see at this point, we're now getting a full 5 bars. So at this point, what we're going to want to do is calibrate this, which basically means that anything under 5 bars, the logger will record an off. We're going to hold down the calibrate button. We're going to hold it until it starts counting down, at which point we can let go. And it's going to lock in that auto calibration at, we'll just flip back over here to the signal strength, at the 5 bars. Now from here, what we're going to want to do is start the logger with the push button, which is right above the start button. What we do is we hold this down for 3 seconds. And your logger is now recording. As you can see here, the seconds are increasing, telling you the time on. Also by the light bulb here, you can see that your light is currently on. What we're going to do is just turn this off. As you can see, now that we've turned off the light, your signal strength has gone down to 1. And this could be a good representation of what the sunlight may be coming in on this particular. Okay, well, I'm not sure what happened there, but you gotta love the power of technology. But basically, what we're showing here is that by using the light pipe in a situation where where an outside lighting source may affect your readings, when you use the calibration, it locks in that threshold at 5 bars. We've had a couple questions come in during the videos. Is the light pipe always necessary? No, it's not. And I'll show you where the light sensor is located here in just a second. But in situations where you're just going to put the light logger itself right up into the light fixture, a light pipe is not necessary. Another question regarding the LCD, what sort of battery life are we expecting? We're expecting a 1-year battery life. We've done a lot of tests here with the LCD running 24/7. There is an option in the software, which I'll touch on this in the launch menu in HOBOware in a little bit, but you do have the ability to actually turn off the LCD or put it into what we call like a stealth mode. So that'll turn off the wow factor, so if anybody walking by it doesn't want to take it for whatever reason, and of course that also improves the overall battery life. And before I move on here, all of our loggers do have a real-time clock on board. So when you go to launch your logger, it is taking the date and time from your computer, and that's being recorded internal to the logger itself. So you'll be able to accurately know when your motors or lights or devices turn on or off. So something else new that we've added to this product, we've always been able to start the loggers with a multiple of different options, but now we've added in a stop feature. So again, you can start the logger right now. You can start it at the next logging interval. You can start it on a specific date and time, or with a push button start. The stop features, actually, and we've also brought back a feature called wrapping when full. So you can either stop the logger when the memory completely fills up, or it'll keep overwriting the oldest data. There is a push button stop, so you can push that button holding it down for 3 seconds and it'll stop the logger, or you can stop it on a particular date and time. So I'd like to take a look at some of the individual features of each of the different loggers. First, taking a look at our new measurements here, the occupancy and the light logger. It's available in 2 different ranges. The smaller one, the image on the top with the smaller sensor, is rated for a 5 meter, and the other is for 12 meters. Really, in smaller conference rooms, you're going to want to use the smaller sensor. It's made for picking up smaller movements, and I'll show you a graph here in a second on how that works. And the 12 meters for hallways or large warehouses where people are walking by, or you may have forklifts going by. Again, the signal strength indicator really ensures that not only do you have the occupancy is located in an area where you're picking up the whole room, but using that signal strength, you also can validate that you're getting enough lighting source going to the light sensor itself that it'll give you good readings. The occupancy sensor has a programmable timeout value, and this is something that's similar to what you'll find in most occupancy switches, where you can set this from 1 second to 15 minutes. So basically, if let's say you have it set for once a minute, if it sees movement in that minute, it resets itself. This will be a good indication to really be able to show what your payback will be when you do install occupancy switches based upon the data. In HOBOware, we've added some automatic filtering. which I'll dive into, but really what we're doing is we're taking your data and giving you information. I believe what people really want to know is when the lights are on and when nobody was there. And again, the LCD, as you saw in the videos, it gives you real-time feedback in terms of what's going on out in the field. So, before you leave the site, you're looking at the LCD, it's telling you that it's working properly, and you have a bit of a peace of mind. Here's a little bit behind the sensor technology on the occupancy and the detection area. On the left, the 005 model is our 5 meter. So as you can see, it has more beams on the XY cross section there that go out. They're closer together so it can pick up smaller movements, and it goes out to about between a 41 to 47 degree angle there. Whereas on the right-hand side, our 006 model, which is the 12 meter model, I guess the best example here is in the vertical on the graph on the bottom here. As you can see, there are a couple gaps here. So as you get out towards that 12 meter range, it's going to take a lot larger movement, so somebody walking by versus just maybe moving their hands while they're sitting in a conference room talking to somebody. So switching gears over to our state logger. We've added some new features here. Before with the U9 logger, it was just simply recorded states. What we've done is you now have the ability to record states, pulses, events, and runtimes. So this is going to allow you to connect it up to a wide variety of sensors. You're going to be able to set your scaling not only for the raw data in HOBOware, but also on the display. So you can see kilowatt hours or gallons per minute, GPM. There's also an internal read switch, so if you wanted to connect the logger up to a door and have a magnet on the jamb, you can open and close that door to tell when the door is open and closed. So the most common question is, what's the difference between a state, pulse, event, and runtime? States, our logger is going to be looking every second, and basically it's looking at a contact closure, the opening and closing. The logger only records when it sees an opening or closing. Most typical applications are for doors or switches, and we also do offer an AC current switch. So you can connect that up to, say, one of the power legs to a motor and detect when that turns on or off. Pulses. This is the mode that you're typically going to use when you connect this up to kilowatt hours or up to something that's giving some sort of pulse output up to 50 pulses per second. The difference is that when you're recording pulses, you do need to set your logging interval. So you're taking a reading no matter what comes through every 5, every 10, 15 minutes. That's user selectable from a second to every 18 hours. Most folks we see connecting this up to the watt node kilowatt hour transducer. Events. Basically, this is a counter. You would use event mode. Using event mode is usually when events are occurring slower than every second. So a couple examples that we've had in the past here is a maintenance log. Folks wanted to know how often power tools are being picked up and used, and all they really need to do is just trigger a 1, 2, 3 event counter, and also how many times toilets flushes, believe it or not. And finally, the fourth mode is runtime, and this works similarly to the state mode, but it allows you to set your logging interval. So let's say you don't need to know exactly when a contact closure opens or closes. All you really care is give me the % on time or close time over a 15-minute logging interval, and the data will actually be read out in percent on or off or time open and closed. Of course, if you do have any questions on this, I know this can be a little confusing. This is selectable within the HOBOware software, and any of our sales folks here and technical support folks will be able to discuss these features with you. The one question is, how is it used for the toilet flushing? What they ended up doing was hooking up just a basic, simple contact closure type switch there. So every time somebody flushed the toilet, it wasn't one of the automatic toilets. They'd push it down, and the logger was tucked in back. And basically, they wanted to see, going from the manual flush to the automated toilets, and if it was worth it. So when we're recording in pulse mode, really we have a low-cost option now to get up and running. Starting at $404, that includes the logger for a 3-phase application, 3 CTs, and the watt node kilowatt hour transducer. Depending upon where you're at in the world, we do have, we offer the same variety of watt nodes that Continental Controls does. So there's everything from the 120 up to the 600 volts, and there's different options there for you. We do also offer a water flow meter, so that's going to run about $190, and it's just recording totalization. And then any other meter that really just gives you some sort of pulse output, this logger is going to be able to record that. And again, you can set your scaling both in the data as well as on the screen itself. So switching gears here a bit, looking at the light on off logger. Again, you're going to get the real-time feedback and make sure that your logger has been deployed correctly. We've talked about the signal strength and auto calibration. So the picture on the right here with the red circle, this is where your light sensor is located, right on the top. So when you put this, let's say up into a lighting fixture, you push the button next to it, and that's where it's going to give you your signal strength. And again, up on the top here, the light sensor is right here, sort of next to this calibrate button. And again, you can see a picture of this with the light pipe on it. And again, there's another setting in HOBOware if you don't have the option to use the signal strength and auto calibration, although I think probably in most lighting applications you will. But if that's not an option, you can set it for a maximum sensitivity, so it picks up a very low lighting threshold, or a minimum sensitivity, so it won't turn on until it reaches a higher threshold. So as you can see, the motor logger here, we've done a lot of revisions to this. There's a number of changes here, and the first being is that there's 2 different logging options with this particular logger. The first is that it has 2 built-in internal AC field sensors, which are shown on the right there. This allows you to really pick up the AC field off of a lot of different types of motors. As you know, nowadays the motors are getting more and more shielded, and sometimes it's harder to actually pick up that AC field. So this logger is much more sensitive in that case. And a new feature here that we added is, if the internal sensors don't work for you, there's a contact closure that's located on the bottom of this logger. So you can't actually run both sensors at the same time, the internal and the external, but it allows you from going back and, say, buying a whole nother logger altogether. So using this external contact closure, which is here on the right, there's a jack on the bottom. You're going to plug in one of our simple cable 2.5 stereos, and you basically have 2 wires that come out, and that connects up to standard dry contact closure or again, we have a simple current switch that you can connect onto the leg of a motor, let's say. And again, we have multiple mounting options here. There was a lot of feedback regarding making sure that if you have a motor that may vibrate a lot, sometimes the U9 loggers would move a little bit. So we have 4 rare earth magnets in here. They're pressure fit into the case, so even when you go to take the logger off the motor, the magnets aren't going to stay with the motor, they're going to stay with the logger. On top of that, we have 2 mounting tabs on either side for zip ties. And actually somebody pointed out earlier, and I should have addressed that in the lighting video, you saw a Velcro strap. We include that. I should point out, with every single one of these loggers, you're going to get what we call a goodie bag, which gives you different mounting options. So there's a piece of 2 pieces of 3M tape, command strip tape in there, which, if you're not familiar with command strip tape, their claim to fame is that you can basically hang something on the wall up to 1 pound, and then when you take off that tape, it's not going to rip off the paint along with it. In addition, there's also that Velcro strap on there, and I believe we also include Velcro in the bag as well. So a bunch of different options here to really kind of mount your loggers out in the field. So what I'd like to do is touch on some of the HOBOware Pro features, which will also show you some of the features of the loggers themselves and how you're going to be getting your data. I have a laundry list here of features that essentially are enhancing the UX90 experience. These are all features that currently exist in your HOBOware Pro today. Well, I should point out the current version is version 3.3. That went up onto the website a couple weeks ago. So if you haven't gotten it yet, I do recommend going to the website and downloading the upgrade. One of the features that I would like to point out that was new to version 3.2 is the filter series out of the launch menu. So what I'd like to do right now is switch over to HOBOware, and I have a light on off logger plugged in here. So let me, sorry, I'm using key commands. You come up to device and go down to launch, or you can also select the launch icon up here at the top. And so what you see here is our standard launch screen. It gives you all your regular information, your battery level. You can set the different state, or this logger also offers runtime mode. But in order to set your filter, and what a filter is it's going to take the raw data here and basically make it a little more meaningful. So let's say, for example, you want to see your total time on per hour. And we'll just put an hour, create. But let's say it's also important for you to see that time on for day. So we're going to create these 2 new filters here. We'll create the series, and then just come down and hit done. As you can see, the number 2 comes up here, so it tells you how many filters you've applied to this logger. And I'll show you in a second here, once we read this out, on how you're going to get your data. The first question out of everybody's mouth is, does this eat into my memory? No, it doesn't. This is being done actually when behind the scenes. So you're not going to eat into any of this additional memory by using these advanced features. Just before I move on, again, you can show on the LCD, you can show it in hours and minutes for the time, your total runtime, or you can show it in %. Here's your different starting features, your different stopping features. Again, there's a couple presets, or you can go down to a particular date and time. And as I discussed before, you can turn off that LCD. And what that means is it doesn't turn it off completely, so to say. It just puts it into a stealth mode. So immediately when you launch this logger, you're going to find that the information on the display is going to go away. But you push any of the buttons on the top, either one of them, and just tap them once, that's going to bring the LCD back to life for 10 minutes and keep it active, at which point it'll put it back to sleep. So, let's say you set up a bunch of these with a delayed start, you put them into a box and somebody goes out to the field. If they're out in the field and they don't see the display lit, just push that button and most likely somebody would put it into the stealth mode there, and you'll be able to have that active. And every time you push the button, you get 10 minutes there. So, if it takes a little longer to get up to the ceiling to get it into a lighting fixture or something like that, just push that button and it makes it active again. So I'll just go ahead and hit start here. And what I'll do now is go up to readout. And I just wanted to show you here really what you're going to get in the plot setup. So it's read out the logger. And the different thing that you're going to see is before, all you would get is just your raw light measurement. Now that you have these filters in place, you can now easily graph time on per hour and time on per day. In this particular case, I don't have a lot of data here to show you, but as you'll see, it did record a little bit of time here. So, it took basically 16 seconds worth of information here. What I'd also like to show you is for the occupancy and light logger. As I said before, taking the raw data and we're turning that into information for you. What I'll do is open up one of the data files that I've worked with here in one of our conference rooms. And I've got a couple things going on here. So let me first show you the feature that I was just showing you, that basically it's going to give you the time on it. This gives you the filtered data. So let me plot this, and as you can see here, this was doing it on an hourly time frame. So it took my information here, and I'll use the crosshair tool, and then you can come in and click on one of these and drop it down. But basically it's telling you the time on over the 5 o'clock hour, let's say here, and then the time unoccupied during that 5 o'clock hour. So really that's going to take some of the raw data, and I'll open the raw data so you can see what that looks like here as well. So our raw data is up top with just the light and the occupancy. So as you can see, we've got these squiggly graphs here and the zeros and ones in our time frame. This is telling you exactly when something turned on or off. So before in the past, what you would have to do is come in and then filter your series this way to get to that information. So really what we're trying to do is, it may be a little more setup time the first time you go to do this in the launch menu, but in the long run, when you go to read out the loggers, it should really speed up your time in front of the computer. And finally, let me get back to this, back to the occupancy, these channels here. So what we've done is we've taken the raw data and we have combined that into light on and occupied, light on and unoccupied, light off and occupied, light off and unoccupied. I'm going to plot them all just so you can see them. But really, I think at the end of the day, what we're looking at here, and keep in mind this is all just from one logger. It's taking those individual light on, off, and occupancy readings and combining the information. But at the end of the day, really we want to know when the lights were on and when it was unoccupied. From here, for example, if you wanted to then filter that data, you have the option to do that as well. So you can get your, let's say, percent. We put the true and the false in here. So basically the true statement means that the lights were on and it was unoccupied, or I'm sorry, yes, and unoccupied. And for the false means that the lights, any of the other settings there. So what we'll do is just plot this by day. And not enough information here, but as you can see, you can easily come through. We'll get rid of the data here, and basically it breaks down to over this time frame that on the 21st the lights were on and the room was unoccupied for 30% of the time of that particular day. So there are some other features here that I have listed. Oh, there we go. We have some other features here that are listed. One of the top ones is launch and readout time-saving features. I'm not going to go into that right now. Actually, I've done a webinar on that in the past, so it's worth taking a look at our YouTube videos, which is youtube.com/hobo data loggers, but I'll show you that in a second. There's some really neat things that you can do here where you can set up one logger once, and then by doing a couple settings within HOBOware, next time you plug in similar, let's say you're launching 15 motor on-off loggers, you're going to launch them all the same way with a delayed start using the internal sensor. You're going to have it for a time and date stop, and you're going to use filters. You set that up once with one logger. You change your preferences, and then you plug in the next logger, and that automatically launches that next logger with the same settings. And so very easy and quickly you can see that you're going to be able to crank through a large number of loggers to get them launched really quickly and read them out. So the goal is to spend as less time in front of the computer as possible. Well, look at this. Sorry about this. So in summary here, basically the HOBO UX series is the industry's lowest cost, most comprehensive family of time of use loggers. And the reason for that is because of its display with the instant feedback, the signal strength and calibration, the start and stop features, the new case design, the occupancy and light on-off measurement. And then, of course, it's competitively priced, starting at $85 for the standard memory, and $199 for the occupancy and light logger. So you guys have been doing a great job of loading me up here with questions. As always, I see a lot of familiar names here from past webinars, so thank you very much. It's greatly appreciated that folks find this useful. I've touched on a couple of these as we've gone through here. Give me 1 second here as again, the goodie bag there, the Velcro strap, the 3M command strip tape, the magnets on the back of the loggers, that's all going to come with it. Excellent question on the state logger. How does that get connected up to the watt node? The state logger comes with a pulse or a contact closure cable. It's our part number cable-2.5-stereo that plugs right into the jack on the logger itself, and that'll allow you to connect it up to the watt node. A question, what is the configuration for a 277 volt 3-phase for kilowatt hours? Do you still need the watt node? Yes, you do. Please do not run electricity into our loggers. You're going to blow them up. You do need the watt node to record kilowatt hours. That is mandatory. and whether that's a single phase or a three-phase application, or 120 volts to 600 volts. That's the transducer that does all the magic, that takes in your voltage, takes in your amperage readings, it takes in the power factor, and it does its magic behind the scenes and spits a pulse out that represents X number of kilowatt hours. So again, do not run AC voltage into the logger. Yeah, another question here. Would you hook one of these up to a tipping rain bucket? You could actually. That's our state logger here, and I'm just gonna zip back up so we can actually take a look at the products so you know what I'm talking about. So our state logger, the UX90-001, this logger right here, it can record events. So it could definitely be connected up to a tipping bucket rain gauge. The one thing I'd like to point out, these aren't weatherproof. So you would need to put it into a weatherproof housing. We are looking at having something available in the future, or a simple freezer Ziploc baggie, but just don't let it get wet. There are some questions here on the watt nodes and how those work, and that's kind of a whole separate topic on itself, and which one's the best for you. So I'm going to actually hold off on that right now, but what I would recommend is actually heading over to our website, and let me just pull this up here. And show you exactly where to go. Clicking on the kilowatt hours here, what you'll want to do is click on any one of the watt nodes to basically get down to the product page, and then down to the documentation. What you're going to want to do is download these manuals, and basically these tell you which models are for which setup, which configurations you need to go with here. It's pretty comprehensive in terms of their details on the different setups there. The YouTube, let me just move down here. What is our YouTube account? And that is this. So you can go up there now. Those videos that I showed earlier are up there. They're the last videos that just got uploaded about a couple hours ago. So HOBO data loggers is all one word, and it's plural. There's a lot of other great information up there, and this is actually where we end up putting all of these webinars that we do here. Okay, we've got a couple more questions in here. The light pipe, the accessory, what is the cost of the light pipe? That's $25. And again, I don't believe everybody's going to be using that with all of the loggers, but in cases where you may have outside lighting sources, like such as sunlight, it's not a bad idea. And okay, I've got. Can you guys hear me? Anybody out there? Okay. All right. Well, it looks like there may be some audio issues out there for right now. So what I'm going to do is wrap this thing up. I'm not sure if everybody can hear me or not. It looks like I get some feedback here, and you may not be able to hear me. So this is our contact information here. If you do have any questions, please feel free to get in touch with me, our technical support folks, or our product application specialists. Thank you again. We do run these typically once a month, so we do encourage you to hit the website, sign up for our newsletters, and you'll get information on when the next one's going to be coming out. So thank you again. I appreciate it all, and have a great afternoon.